generation of evolution, the generation of change. During this vital time in history, we know that some things must change, but there's nothing new under the sun. Join us as we discuss the current landscape of politics, religion, and culture with your hosts, JESSYE, Courtney, and Jay through the lenses of millennials. Welcome to Millennial Mondays.
Okay, so you guys got to see the little trailer or whatever that I did last week, like 15 minutes before we came on. I got to re-record that audio, but
It's nice.
thank
For a
you.
rush job, it looks amazing, man.
Listen, I be trying to tell y'all, I still like using Adobe. I'm not really into
I'm not
chat.
an Adobe girl.
Well, I use the Express
I tried.
version. Yeah, just the
Yeah.
Express version. I don't really
Oh,
get
not
into
Photoshop.
not
Babe, I did a
Photoshop.
whole class on Photoshop, and it
Yeah,
was.
I was trying to learn it too, but I was just like, this is too hard. I tried to learn on YouTube University. Well. We're back for another Millennial Mondays. It's
Happy
your host.
Monday.
Happy Monday. It's your host, Jess, with the mess, JESSYE here, and I have my lovely co-hosts both with me tonight. First, to my right, we have the Courtney, the beautiful Courtney Phillips. How are you doing today, sweetie?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
I am still here.
Come on.
Barely by the grace. Oh Lord. And then well, let's switch it around here. I don't like
Thank
saying
you. I
on
like
the
to be
bottom.
in the middle.
Ooh, in the middle of
No.
it.
In the
And then
middle
to
of it.
my far right, we have the infamous Jay Eleazar, aka Josh. How are
Hey,
you
Miss
doing,
Candace.
my brother?
What's up, bruh? Happy to start another Monday after a long weekend. How are you?
I am still here,
Yeah,
Billy
I get
by
it,
the
bruh.
grades. I should have. No. Okay, we're not gonna
I
get into
get
all
it,
of that.
man.
Give us a little bit. What's going on? Talk to us.
It's giving like
What is given?
it's not really nothing going on. It's just like another work week. It's cold. They done got back cold in Michigan. It's like 40 degrees here. This weekend it was 70, and now and then tomorrow it'll be 70 again. So it's that type of thing going on. It's just your
Mm.
body all out of whack, and all of that. So everything that's going on in the world, I'm always probably going to be on a 6 as long as this administration is in office. To be quite frank.
Mm. Rightfully so.
To
Okay.
be quite
Yeah,
frank.
it's
Why?
cold down
What?
here too, man. I'm hoping this means the summer gonna go easy on us, but I doubt it.
Oh yeah. Why did you laugh?
At the
Who,
last
me?
statement,
Oh.
how you tied the weather to this administration, flawless pivot, if you will.
No, he was saying as long as this administration is in position, he'll be at a 6.
I'm gonna
I know.
always
That's
be
how I
at.
laughed.
Oh, you heard? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that. That's why I
that's
laughed.
that's going to be my high year because I was just trying to figure out what the hell was
My
funny.
fault.
Uh,
Oop. Please don't start.
that's
No,
Listen,
no,
all.
no,
I've been
no, no,
sick
no,
all
no.
weekend. I don't have it in me today. I don't have it in me.
Okay,
Everybody's
good.
gonna
So
be on their best behavior.
everybody was kind of foo
Amen.
fighty. Well, you all, we just want to come on here and remind everyone that it is midterms 2026 coming
Yeah.
up. We have, I think, primary start what in June, May, June.
June.
Um, in June. Okay, I thought so.
For
Um,
some regions, right? Because we've already voted, unless it's something else I'm missing.
well, you all had a
Here in
special
Texas.
election, so
So that's what that was.
yeah,
That
that's
wasn't
what.
primaries.
Yeah,
Okay.
We had
the
primaries in Dallas like earlier with Jasmine Crockett and
That's right.
yeah. So
Okay.
Courtney is right about that.
so okay, yeah. So it looks like
So
state
in
by
different places, they it's different times,
it's
but it's all
different.
the primaries.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
pulled up the list here from fvape.gov if you want to look that up. I should have had that already preloaded. But anyways, so it looks like some have actually already gotten started. Illinois was on March 17th, and then it looks like Delaware is the latest September 15th. So we're in the middle of primary season. And let's look here. So Texas, yep, you all had yours early. It was March 3rd. So yours was the first one. Louisiana.
Say
That
all the extra smacking and stuff. You said my state name.
Louisiana.
Just say it, and keep moving on.
Louis,
Hey, princess.
yours will be in May. It looks like it's May. I can't do okay. May 16th, and then here in Michigan, ours is in the summer, so that's August the 4th. So I thought everybody's was pretty much in the summer, but I was wrong. So Courtney wanted to speak about more of our local elections, our state elections. So what exactly was going on down there in Texas?
So I wanted to talk more local, right? Like super local, like your community local, like city council, things of that nature. So I voted today. This is our early voting for our local elections, like for city council, for different ordinances and things of that nature that we're voting for. And so I just know that oftentimes we skip the local elections. We feel as though it's not important, or we may not be as aware of what's going on locally. But if you are a homeowner, or even if you're not a homeowner, if you have children and they're in the school district, these things affect you. So, for example, like judges, that affects you. Like different proposals. I can't remember what they call them. It escapes me. But
Propositions.
thank you. Different propositions. It's important. It could mean more taxes to pay for something else. You understand? So those things are important. Sometimes it involves rent regulations. I know in California they had that big Proposition 19, I believe is what it's called, that impacted or affected real estate as far as rental properties, right? And so we also have schools. Like school is huge here in Texas, and specifically in the region that I live. Um, we have what's called independent school districts. And so within that independent school district, um, they may decide, hey, we need to build more schools because we're building more homes and we're building up the community. So we may need to raise taxes so that we can pay for this, that, and the third as it pertains to the schooling. So these different things, we don't hear about it much. We don't talk about it often. And so I just wanted to bring awareness to it. It's important that we get out and vote locally just the same as we do nationwide.
And I don't think people really think about this aspect, because you brought up a good point about taxes, whether you own property or if you don't.
Mhm.
People don't think about your rent prices are also
Yep.
tied to local taxes.
Yes.
So that's very important. And I feel like a lot of us are misinformed on how jurisdictions work also.
That's right.
Your state can have a particular levy on interstate roads, but
Mm-hmm.
then your county will have another levy on more local roads. So you have to kind of know who the road commissioner is.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Did I go in
Jesse,
and out? I
you're
went
out.
in and
Okay,
out.
there you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm so sick of this $2 internet that Josh got put that spirit of the
Wait,
$2
what?
internet on it. He put the $2 internet spirit over
Wait,
here.
hey,
Yeah.
tonight I'm in a good
He finally
spot.
comes on screen. He
I'm
finally comes on
good,
screen,
and it's
and
still
then
my
it's
fault.
me.
He finally comes on screen.
It's the scheme set up by.
It's my fault still.
It's the scheme set up by that $2 internet. Yeah,
But his internet working just fine. I don't.
Perfect.
So
that's because
I
he
ain't
came on
trying to
screen this
instigate
week.
nothing. I'm just saying.
But
You know what? I hope mine go out for the show just to prove a point.
No, it's just because he came on the screen today. Because any other
That's what
day,
I'm
Oh, really?
saying.
Bet,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. His internet
bet. There we go.
perfect. You know
No,
what?
no,
We kill
come
all
Come
that.
back.
on back
We
on the
No,
we,
come
we
back
kill all
screen.
that.
on. Cause anyways, but yeah, so you want you and then we talk about it's not so much of a problem I would say here in the city of Detroit or in Wayne County, but
Mhm.
like if you go outside of those two counties, you go to like Oakland County, Macomb County, all these other, places. We had this one lady, she was a whole racist. Like she came out and she had like some phone recordings or something in Oakland County. um and it's like, well, how long has she, because Oakland County still has a good chunk of black people there. So it's like, well, what have you been doing for your entire tenure? You've been locking black people up, and we know statistically black people have longer incarceration times and
Right.
harsher
She was a judge,
sentences.
you said?
She was a judge for
Why is she not in
several years.
jail?
I don't think she's disbarred, but I don't
Good,
think.
good, okay,
Yeah,
good.
she has been disbarred for sure, but I think they had some like voice recordings or something had happened, and but it's like, a lot of this could be alleviated if we got up and we went to go vote every single time. But black people, we, unfortunately, we only like to vote usually in
For the
November.
president,
Yeah, for the president, we vote that
maybe the
November.
mayor.
We may go for the mayor or we may go for the governor, which is here in Michigan is every opposite 2 years. So, which our governor races this year, and that's a hot mess. But that we have to go and vote every single opportunity that we get, especially in these local elections, because a lot of times these people are getting on the judge boards of what they're getting in the courthouses based off of 2, 3, 4, 5 votes. So get up and vote, vote, vote. Tell and I know
What's
everybody else. What?
nothing. Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
What?
You talking about voting? There's some sniggling and grinning going on. I'm just
Ain't
trying
no
to figure
sticking
out
and
what we
grinning.
sniggling and grilling about.
Jesse, did I say
You want
anything?
to share with the group?
I don't. Jesse, did I
Oh,
say
okay then.
anything?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I would like to. I would like to know. I would like to. I need to know the participation right
I,
now.
I mean, really,
Jesse,
because what's
Jesse.
tea?
I
Because
thought ain't no tea, trust me. Hey, sometimes you gotta laugh, keep from crying, okay?
Oh,
Go
okay
ahead,
then.
Jesse. I'm listening, bro. I'm
Because
listening.
as soon as you start boohooing on this platform, you're gonna get gagged.
I
He's
promise you.
not
that.
crying. He's
You wouldn't.
perfect. He's stellar.
You better be perfect when you come up here, because we will gag you, and the people in the chat will too.
But it was just a
No.
lot of, I didn't know, I wanted to laugh. I love to laugh. Don't you love to laugh, Jesse? So I just wanted to know what was funny.
It
I ain't seen
amazed
nothing in the
me.
comments.
I had an old preacher back there in Macon who would say, if you focus on me and God, you won't worry about your neighbor. So Jesse was giving very good information, and I should be focused on him. You should be looking at me, looking at Jesse. So I'm looking at you, brother. Please continue.
Ain't y'all about a mess?
This wealth of
I
information.
don't know. The Bible says it's a time and a place for everything. And when
Every
nobody
single
laughing.
thing.
So
Every single
I didn't
thing.
know.
So last week,
Okay.
I had shared this in our little group chat or whatever.
But care to share the messages so we can laugh too. That'll be great. Okay, I'm sorry. We moving on. And we moving.
Hallelujah. But
Is there a way to share my screen here? Because I don't mind. Go ahead, Jesse. Yes, it's interesting right here.
I don't know, but you can send it to me and I can share it.
Him.
Ain't nothing worth sharing. Piss you off. Trust me.
Oh, all right. So last
It'll
week,
piss us off. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so I had came across this meme here last week, and we didn't get a chance to share it with so much stuff going on this week. I'm glad it slowed down just a little bit. It was so much contention going on across the world. So I saw this graphic. It says, Erica Badu, we'd have more black millionaires if black people invested 10% instead of paying tithes. How do y'all feel about that?
I disagree.
Go ahead, Courtney.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please go ahead.
No, that's all I got. I disagree.
I am, and pardon me, Jesse, but I'm to the point where I'm sick of non-church people telling the church our business, okay? You get incomplete half truths from Drewski, and this is not about Drewski, but Drewski, the TV shows, the portrayal of the black church, not realizing if it wasn't for the black church, black America as we know it today wouldn't be black America as we know it today. Okay? The black church were the first schools. The black church birthed the first colleges. The black church was the networking, was the business, were the consultation groups. And now you have these people who are on some pseudo spiritual kick who is, and have your opinions, okay? It's not about that. But don't have an ulterior motive and rebellion to the church to where you say any old stupid stuff. If it was that easy, we'll have more black millionaires as it is now. Because I promise you, most black people aren't tithing to the church, okay? So your stats are incomplete, they're wrong. And Erykah Badu, I love you, girl, but you about as dumb as a damn bed bug, okay? You say stuff, and because you're Erykah Badu, because you're eccentric, you have this esoteric energy, people take it at face value. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Black people are in a predicament we are in today as a whole financially, not because of the black church. If anything, it has been the black church, even in her weakness now, that has kept us going, both civically, both socially, and spiritually. So no, ma'am, you're wrong.
Courtney, do you have anything to expound on?
No.
I get your frustration, Josh, and I get your disagreement, Courtney. All right, but I wouldn't necessarily say like that. I fully agree with Erica's assessment. Because the Black Church, of course, has been an institution of hope for Black individuals throughout our history here in the United States of America.
Is it an institution of hope now, though?
Yes. That's what I'm kind of getting to, because I was sitting there thinking, over the last few weeks, especially with the economy and in its state that it's in currently, I was just thinking, like, in the Bible it mentions, bring your materials or whatever it says to the storehouse. Your tithes to the storehouse.
So there'll be meat in my house.
Amen. I'm sure you know that because you're the deaconess of the world.
We have the pastor over here. Go ahead.
So I was just like, well, if we always bring your tithes into the storehouse, when is the concept of the storehouse? When are we going to be able to actually go back and actually use the resources of the storehouse? When is the storehouse going to be of any good for the community?
But is it not? Like, I don't think you know the stats on how many people actually come to the church for help with their rent or help with different utilities, especially if you want to include, because I think we're thinking Black church, but we're not thinking church as a whole, including the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church helps out tremendously.
They do.
St. Jude, Baptist, Mercy Hospital, Ladies of the Lake. Let me say, Our Lady of the Lake here in Louisiana. Scholarship funds, schools. Who do you think sponsored that? Also, too, I'm willing to bet you that the Black church employ more people than hip hop does combined.
Wait, huh?
I speak of the Black church. I'm willing to bet you.
Black church do what now?
Employ more people than hip hop do. And now I could be wrong. I'm saying based on what
you're wrong. Why would you say that and you don't have the facts? What?
His assessment don't sound off. He needs to use ChatGPT.
So
period.
Will Avenue, okay. So my older brother Ruben is a producer in Atlanta for Stankonia Productions. That whole operation takes about 12 people, okay, just hands-on people. You also have your freelancers for 12 people. Wheeler Baptist by itself employs 130 people by themselves.
That's 130 people. How you gonna say they employ? How you gonna say the church, the Black church, employs more people than hip hop?
Okay.
Where are your stats?
One major production, and I could be wrong, but I'm saying This is my
You're not gonna look it up right quick?
deduction skill. Well, I will. Give me a second, please.
Okay.
Stankonia, which is one of the largest production companies
I'm aware.
in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
12 people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Def Jam, we'll say 80 people, 90 people. Death Row Records. So
But
I'm
are
saying,
you referring to record labels? Or are you referring to hip hop? Because if you say hip hop, you have to include in their tours. You have to include other variables other than just the studio.
okay,
Of course, they're
let's.
not going to have a lot of studio staff.
You're right. Let's do this. How many people?
Breaking news alert, you all.
What's wrong?
There's a big story here coming out of Detroit. Um,
Please
I
no more
agree.
death.
I agree with Josh. That's breaking news. Oh my god.
Oh boy,
I thought somebody done died. I'm like,
I'm about to say,
oh,
please
I'm
no more
not in a
death.
position right now.
Please
Please,
no more death. Okay.
Not that I
please, I
know
can't
of.
take it.
No, breaking news. I agree with Josh.
How do you agree with Josh and y'all don't have the stats? And he's
How
sitting
many
up here
people
talking about studio
does?
time,
Okay,
studios.
if you allowed me to break things down, how I was going, I was going from production down to labels, down to actual private artists. Their entourage. I'm saying it's impossible that hip hop as a whole would employ. The average black church have about two employees. Okay, two employees. All right, the
Wait.
pastor.
Hold on. Let me make sure. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut through you.
You fine?
So you're saying that I want to make sure I hear you correctly. You're saying that the black church employs more black people or more people in general than hip hop. That's
All
what
right,
you
here we go.
said, right?
Here we go. Okay. The
No,
U.S.
is that what
music.
you said? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
U.S. music industry supports roughly about 2.5 million jobs. Okay, with hip hop and R&B, hip hop and R&B accounts for 25% of that. With hip hop accounting for 17% of that. Okay, so that's about 500,000 jobs. All right, total. Now, a lot of these jobs are freelance jobs and contract work. Full-time jobs including creative roles, media and content, business, live events, culture, and the artist, which adds up to about 84,000 jobs if given at face value. Including freelancer, we're looking at about 500,000 to about 630,000 jobs. Okay. Now, the black church as a whole, between actual people in the ministry, pastors, secretaries, event planners, all that right there. And when you go to places that have summer camps, places that have schools, places that have missions work, it's about the same. This is basically, in my opinion, just the face value of employment. Okay. Then you go into what was given to the community, food pantries. Going outside the black church, you have hospitals, you have schools, you have whole colleges that are sponsored by the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, seminaries down here in New Orleans Baptist Seminary. I'm not sure where people think the money comes from. It's not from God. It comes from people who support the mission and support the ministry. Also, last point, Jesse. Lily Grove in Houston, Terry Anderson, has a church of the same size in Haiti that the church here in Houston sponsors fully. Like, these are things we don't see, but the issue is we get the perception of the church from TV, from the jokes and stuff, and I get all that, but that's such a very minuscule part of the church. The church in itself, and I believe the church is our future as black people, because we have the pooling of resources here. But the church as a whole has been more than a blessing to us than harm, even today, I believe.
Mhm. Well, I'm gonna pivot from Josh, because we're not gonna be so statistical. I'm more emotional laden, and I like to
Totally
speak
agree.
on
Okay.
stories. I rather talk about stories. Now we give the black church a hard time, but when hip hop artists came out and fully supported MAGA, there was, backlash, but it wasn't the same backlash that, it would have been given if it was a black conservative Christian person. Can we say that's kind of a fact?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And then also we always talk about scam artists in the black church and things of that nature, and people, being abused for their tithes and things of that nature. But we don't talk about the music industry and how many scams goes on in the music industry. And I'm not just talking about people being gypped of their royalties and things of that nature. I'm talking about just even on the local scene. Like, I know a lot of times, like, these showcases and things of that nature, or these Instagram pages, there's a lot of grifters. There's a lot of people that sit around and they abuse younger artists, or up and coming artists that don't know no better, and having them pay for showcases, signing them to these silly deals and things of that nature. So if they do pop, they are tied to that contract for years on end without any type of any type of results or anything, and they hijack their careers and things of that nature. We don't talk about that side of hip hop. I think we overlook that, and we don't give them that same type of energy at all. And really, when you think about it, it is not fair. It's like, Erica, you can get on here all day and talk about, well, black people need, whatever they give at church, woo, 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 but y'all don't be having that same energy for these niggas up in this hip hop industry that be doing the same damn thing without God.
Along with violence and along with perpetuating the worst parts of our culture. That's my issue with not just hip hop, but people in the world who criticize the church. We have our flaws, we have our issues, and hypocrisy is a big part of that. But can it not be you, though, please? Can it not be you? Now, hold us accountable, but at the same time, come humble, come gentle, okay? Because you can't be doing the worst things possible as a human and then come and telling us, well, what about y'all? And Londa, I think Londa, I want to address Londa's point, Jesse, if you don't mind. Londa is right, but I'm saying most churches don't have those full grants en masse.
No.
And also, too, those grants are not $1 million grants. Like these are tens of thousands of dollars, more like scholarships, if you will. And now let's quantify a church. I speak of a church that's 300 people, okay? That's a full-fledged ministry that's fully operational nowadays. I don't speak of mega churches nor small churches. I mean like churches that are like Courtney's church, full-fledged, fully organized. Those churches have tithe and offering that support them. Willow Baptist, Lily Grove. Huh?
We only the tithe and offering supports our ministry. We do not have any grants because my pastor didn't want to be, she didn't want her hands tied in the pulpit.
That part. My old church in Georgia, New Pilgrim, no grants. It was, and we saw that when COVID happened. Things slowed down. People got laid off because why? The money wasn't coming in through donations, if you will.
Yeah. Now,
Jesse,
granted,
good point, Jesse. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was about to go on a tangent.
What you was gonna say, Courtney?
No, I was just gonna say, okay, can I don't know if I can say COVID or not.
You
But
can say he already done said it, honey.
oh, okay. So during that time though, a lot of people, it's okay, we'll send you the book. A lot of people experienced the most money that they've ever had as well. And I'm not referring to the PPP.
You just talking about like in general, like
Yes, and outside of the stimulus checks too.
Gotcha.
that's a good conversation to have. I would love to actually have that conversation. I know Josh probably would be like, and all that carrying on, but really that's why we're in the current economy that we have now.
What conversation?
You think so? Because hold on.
What conversation? I'm lost.
He's saying that the stimulus
Oh, yes. Yes.
And economists, if you go back to the news articles back in 2020, the economists then said this is too much money that's being printed out here. It's going to cause an overinflation and then possibly stagflation, and there's going to be another recession because of all of the money that was being printed. Not just the PPPs, not just the stimulus checks. It was just way too much. It was too many grants. We technically were in a recession March of 2020, but it was just like, okay, it was just more focused at the restaurant industry. Everybody shouldn't have received a check, because when I say I had a lot of money myself, like I had work bonuses, and all the I mean, not PPPs, but all the stimulus checks and all of that. And I'm like, I had, I was kind of, I'm like, Charles, I'm about to go to the mall, and stuff like that. And then, so what has happened, once you over print too much.
Who's
Oh,
here?
what happened? Oh, what's going on? Anyways, so once you over inflate the economy and you keep printing money like that, the prices are going to go up. And and then you could also notice that, like, the grocery prices.
But we had
I'm gonna
inflation
give you.
during that time.
I'm gonna give you a stat to support Jesse, and grab y'all pearls. Of all the money that has been printed from day one of this experiment as a country until now, 40% of the money was printed in 2020 to 2022. Of all the money ever printed in this country, the
The
last
most.
last 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
40% of it was printed then. You cannot insert that much capital
Hmm.
into
Without it
the.
being backed up.
There you go. And also too, we take in about $5 trillion a year. Okay, as a country, we spend about 7 trillion. So automatically, that's $2 trillion that's borrowed in bonds, in selling debt, and also too in printing. That's an automatic inflation every year, year over year. On top of now, when you have more wars, when you have more obligations with geopolitical obligations, they print more money, more inflation. Inflation is a built-in tax, if you will.
And so when people were going around during 2024 saying that, oh, the economy was better during
Hey,
Trump,
St.
the
James.
economy was better. Hey, St. James, and hey, everybody in the chat. We ain't stopped talking since we
Hey,
started.
St. James.
Um,
Go ahead.
but so yeah, like when everybody back in 2024 was saying that the economy was better under Trump, I was like, no, Trump's lack of having management over an emergency situation and just throwing money at everything. That's
Yep.
what set us up for 2024. The years between 2020 and 2024, and even now, and it's even worse now with these tariffs, because, like, really, if in a perfect landscape, we would have started receding back down, but they keep throwing money out there.
And then don't forget Mr. Biden's $2.7 trillion infrastructure bill. That was,
Now,
and then the president's come back behind it. These tax cuts. That's
mhm,
another 17 trillion over 10 years. I'm sorry, 7 trillion over 10 years.
mhm.
All of that adds up. Because meanwhile, what happens is I have to replace that money some kind of way. The middle class don't have it. I got to print more money now.
And for Trump to be a economics major, allegedly, I was
Child, he
just,
didn't
Marco.
graduate nobody's school.
he graduated, he got a degree, but did he actually earn it?
And another thing
Mm.
too, Jesse, I thought about this. Here's the scary part. By 2030, I think 36, either 2040, more than half of our yearly taxes will go towards paying the interest on debt.
Hmm.
Now, I won't get into it now. There is a plan to dump this debt, okay? It's going to a stable coin. So the dollar will be devalued and the country will go to a digital currency. That's what Mr. Trump is doing right now. When that happens, we won't have the debt no more. But trust and believe, the world is going to bankrupt itself. You can't just dump out $40 trillion of debt on the rest of the world and no one else notice it. So
But
there's a. Go ahead.
what, like, with this cryptocurrency, I'm glad you brought that up, because I just don't trust it. And what exactly is backing it up? Is it
So
gold? Is it
no,
what is it?
so that's the so I speak of stablecoin, not crypto. It's crypto, but it's not the traditional Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., etc.
I'm just
This is
saying
going
that
to.
was just a more of a general term because I know it's a
Oh,
million
gotcha.
type of those currencies. Yeah.
Crypto is so there's a finite amount of crypto. We'll say 100 coins, for example. Okay, what backs it is the how do I put this? Pretty much the word of all of us. So me, you, and Courtney are on a blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we recognize Jesse only have one crypto. That's it. I only have one. All of us must approve and agree to that. His one crypto, his one coin, for it to be validated as one coin.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is now there's more trust to say only 100 coins is made and that's it. So we can't add no more. The issue now is you have these ETFs coming up. You have these other companies who are buying Bitcoin, buying 1 or 2 coins, for example, and selling assets based off that 1 or 2 coin. So now it's only 100 coins, but it's now diluted down to 1,000 and 10,000. It's all based on trust until one person gets in and say, "No, I'm going to scam all y'all," and now the whole thing is shaking. But the good news is it's impossible because we all must be in on a scam. And when the U.S. gets into this, it'll be backed by a digital dollar, which is backed by the Treasury.
That sounds like a scheme set up by the Antichrist
It really
itself.
is.
Yeah,
It really is.
it's a scheme.
On
And
paper, it's a Ponzi scheme. On paper, it's a Ponzi scheme, but it works because more than one person or more than one group is in charge of it. That makes sense?
no, it don't make sense at all to me, honestly. And I know, some of the terms I'm familiar with, like blockchain and all of that, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't. None of that sounds accurate. It sounds right. Now let's go here really quick before we get into our main feature of the night. We're all millennials and things of that nature. We're in our 30s, early 40s. So
Thank
this
you.
whole conversation. This whole conversation kind of makes you think about
Mm,
your family
and it's fine.
members and how are we going to protect them and keep them alive, because if we be quite frank, listening to this made me think about social security. More than
Child, it's
likely, social
gone.
security is
Next
not
Gone.
subject.
going to be a. And
Gone.
my mom is 60.
Mm-mm.
She turned 61 this year, and she's set to retire within the next 4 or 5 years. And it's like, she don't work hard all her life. All of a sudden now she's not going to have social security.
I'm
So
sorry.
like, what are we? What like are? I feel like millennials need to talk more. Like, we need in our communities and our conversation. Like, we need to seriously talk more about like the possibility of having the spare room as your mother and your father's room.
Yes. Yes.
Black people need to talk about that. Other cultures been doing that.
True,
Black
true.
people don't like to stay together because we get on each other's nerves.
It's for survival, though.
And a lot of
And
it,
we need to discuss.
mhm. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Go
We
ahead,
need to
Josh.
discuss too. I'm saying it again. Getting these boomers out of office. They got theirs. They can't relate
Not
to
today,
Jesse and I.
Lord.
Jesse, come on, bruh.
Not today.
Bruh, I read an article yesterday. There are 96 boomers, okay? 96 that blocks nationwide. They have blocked economic relief that would give millennials and Gen Zers a chance. 96 who ran on that campaign, who ran on at a platform of no free handouts, no socialism, anti-Mondani, ran on that. They have their houses paid for. They're good. They're
Mm-hmm.
literally living off of money that was meant for us and that now we're paying for their life. Not saying them I'm saying that whole government, that whole culture. They don't care, bruh.
And they don't care because when you think about it, to add on to Josh's point, why hasn't there been regulation over, say, AI? Why
Thank you.
hasn't there been any regulation over even COVID? Why hasn't there been any federal regulation or statewide regulation over the housing crisis that continues to grow more and more? There's so many so much housing insecurity, and then when you look at when you start looking at things, um, people are homeless, but there are empty units
Oh,
everywhere.
so we're blaming boomers. I just want to
We
make sure
are
that I'm
because
It's the
they
understanding.
policies, Courtney. It's the
Okay.
lack of our
the
boomer
lack of
president is the one
enthusiasm.
who said states you will not have it, under his one big beautiful bill. He told the states you are not allowed to regulate AI.
Yeah.
Our boomer president, Mr. Biden. Now he tried, but he failed. The housing that he promised, the student loan that he promised, the relief that he promised. It was boomers in the Senate that blocked it. They don't
Londa
get
said
it.
something good. She
To be
said,
honest, my older family members have
And
done a
I'm
better
totally
job of
going. I'm
saying
gonna
than
press
some
back
of the
on Londo
closest.
for that.
and I
Totally.
agree 100%.
But Londa,
My mama straight.
Londa, be fair. Okay, be fair.
Me,
The average cost of a house, so let's
I
say
have to work
Londa's
hard.
older people are in their 80s, okay, 70s, okay, which mean in the 70s they were buying their first home possibly. The average house of a home in the 70s
Of
was
course.
only 10 times the annual salary
Of course.
average. You could then buy that starter home, stay in it for 4 or 5 years, then flip it tax free with the wealth, upgrade your lifestyle. Your kids' college was no more than about 15% of your average annual salary if you had a decent middle class job.
Yeah.
I make good money, okay, but I'm having a hard time saving how my grandfather saved because the cost of living. Sometimes it's not
That's true.
Cause you don't
it's
never
not that
come on here with no clothes that I ever see that's that cute. But
yeah. So you know something yesterday, boy. Woo, that Tom Ford was good yesterday, boy. But go ahead though, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm a working
that
man,
was
brother.
rude.
I agree, Londa. I agree.
Now my girl. No, I
That's
don't.
hold on 1 second. That's the part we spend.
They didn't
We
have
are
cell
the biggest
phones.
spenders.
That's an entire lie. My grandmother and a lot of our grandmothers were hoarders. They were hoarders.
But what they was hoarding didn't cost as much as
Oh yeah, my
Are
grandmother
you for
had
real,
so much.
Londa?
we have become consumer like never before. We don't hold on to jobs like they did. That's
What
a
jobs,
fact.
Londa? What jobs?
That's a
Manufacturing jobs
fact.
that are gone? What
We
jobs?
don't have. You can't go to your average office and expect to have a 40-year career like
No,
back in
she's
the
not
You
day.
saying that.
can't.
She's not saying that. She's just saying that that's how it was back then. They held on to their jobs. They held on to their coin.
But we
They held.
can't though.
They would. Yeah,
Because
I mean,
if I
A
would
lot of
have
folks can
stayed
afford
at
to.
if I would have stayed at my first quote unquote big boy job, I would have been probably making $15 an hour.
Here it is. They didn't have cell phones, okay? They
right?
didn't have
They do
high
not have
car
what we
insurance.
have.
I'm saying
High
things that
car insurance is relative. Go ahead.
okay, they didn't have. Remember now, insurance became mandatory really the last 30 years, 20 years.
Yes.
So they didn't have car insurance like that. They didn't have these high maintenance. My grandfather never took his car to the mechanic. We have to now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cell
But that's
phones,
because of what we
after
driving.
school programs. My parents stayed at home by themselves after school. We now must have daycare. We now must have after school care. So these things. So there are things now. To this point, we are buying name brand. We are buying, traveling more. I get that part. I'm saying the average person who is trying to get by, average family, they have things, expenses that are not only new to our culture, but way more expensive than they had back then. I'm saying that's how it is.
That's
Boss.
fine, but we
Okay.
still spend more.
The average American,
But you can say we spend more, but that's because
that's
you have to
that's
spend
the graph
more.
right there. I want to see. That graph right there.
Now, if you look at this graph right here, it's only a 10-year span between 2014 and 2024. You see here, it starts off between $1,200 I would assume $1,200 by annual by monthly. And it goes up during the pandemic. It did go up. So like Courtney said earlier, we did have more money. But then it went right back down. But then yet you see this is the wait. The prices, the annual prices changes is the green actually. So, you can never catch up.
But now, mind you, we get paid way more than they used to.
But
it's relative, Courtney. It's called buying power. Our buying power is not the same as theirs were. Despite our higher income, despite our higher earning potential, the buying power is way down.
And my grandfather made what I think he was making like $100K just working a regular GM job back in the 80s.
And that was back then when $100K
he
was
made
$100K
back in the day.
No college education. Yeah. He was a foreman.
$100K back in the day is like making $2 million.
I'm saying, make what?
And see, this is what we're
$100K back in the day.
This is what? Yeah,
nigga, he was rich.
And my granddad my granddad,
you was straight.
Was something right?
You was straight.
My granddad. Now I will say this: the nigga still wear patches. I'm depending on. He a country bumpkin.
That's the Princess point. Yeah, you're right.
My granddad's still a country bumpkin, but my grandmother. This is the point that y'all missing out on. My grandmother had them in so much debt that they had to file bankruptcy.
Back then or recently?
This was accumulated between the 80s and the early 2010s.
She was spending. You know what? And that's another reason why the boomers who are not doing well. I'm saying in general. Are struggling because they were the first generation that consumerism hit.
Yeah.
And credit cards hit. Because remember, our grandparents didn't believe in debt at all. Mm-hmm. Especially after the Great Depression. They didn't trust banks. They didn't trust the stock market. Fast forward, their kids now saw this consumerism rise in the country and the rise of credit cards and the rise of get it now, pay for it later. And they lost their right behind mine. They went crazy.
Yeah, well, boomers is the crazy generation, and they were the first generation who saw malls and things of that nature and suburbanism and all that carrying on. But what was it? It was the last thing I wanted to say about that is it's two things. First of all, Londa and Courtney, they don't get the annual GDP numbers that go up every so often. The percentages, I forgot what the exact chart would be, so I can't even look it up.
It's 2 to 7% annually, year over year.
Yeah, and it started. The baseline is at like 1982 or something like that. Yep. So it goes up every year, and but the wages have stayed stagnant since 1982, and then also with the the boomer generation, they were pretty much the last generation to get the remnants of those 30 glorious years between the end of the World War II and the stagflation crash of the late 70s. Those were that was the 30 glorious years where a lot of wealth was built up in this country. And so what we've been dealing with since the 70s, but in particular since 9/11, exactly, what we've been dealing with is a slow crash and burn to the end, if we be totally honest. And so now we're finally feeling like we're never going to be able to get back to that. Now, I don't think in our lifetimes, I don't think we're going to ever see that again. The 30 glorious years, or even how it was in the 90s and the 80s. I don't think we're ever going to get that back again. So that's why I like to bring up economics when it's a feasible conversation, because we are going to have to get very much community based. Like we're not. I hate when people be like, "Oh, it's not that bad." It is that bad. I'm sorry to tell you, it is that bad.
It's about to get worse too.
It's going to get way worse. Yeah.
Hey, Jesse, I read this in a economic newsletter I follow every day. Every other day they send one out. please Google this. It costs now $336,000 to raise a child now, one child. I just read that. 300,000 at least, one child. Not including college. That's daycare. That's feeding the child. That's clothing the child, giving the child a decent life, excluding college.
It's ridiculous.
My uncle raised 12 kids off of a trash man salary, and all of them never went hungry.
Never had. Trash man was making good though, huh?
Not back. Well, back me up. But like this is the country, okay? So like it's not like Houston or Detroit or New Orleans. This is like Sandersville, Georgia.
Okay.
So he doing all right, but it's still
probably was, they weren't rocking Louis and all this stuff like that.
You're right.
So,
but everybody not rocking Louis.
Well, no, I'm just saying they weren't living above their means, is what I'm saying.
Can I give
allegedly, because I don't know for sure.
How little $100,000 is nowadays? Just I'm gonna use my numbers, okay? Let's say a husband and a wife makes $150,000 annually, okay, together, all right? $2,100 a month in mortgage. They got two cars. We'll say one car is paid for, one car is not. Average car note now is $780. $780 a month for car note. Down here in New Orleans, $580, $590 in car insurance. If they get health care for a family of four, we'll say another $1,000, $1,500 maybe. Then food, grocery bills. You got a boy and a father. Grocery, you're gonna spend $1,000 on groceries a month. Okay.
More than that.
Daycare. Well, no, I'll be fair. Let's say both kids are in primary school. You have now spent almost $5,000, and you haven't paid the light bill yet. You haven't put gas in the car. You haven't gone out to eat yet. You haven't paid in sports yet, and that's $150. You haven't saved yet, put in 401k retirement yet. That's $150. So I get Londa's point. We can all cut back some and simplify our life. But I will always say this: this current system is not sustainable. Especially when your middle class people are struggling. You have an issue. This country grew because the middle class were able to buy things and prosper and save and invest. Can't do it now.
Okay, my bad, y'all. So, but yeah, Josh, you're absolutely right. It's just like, it's especially as millennials, especially if you're a 90s millennial, it just feels like it's never been fair. I just wanted to talk on this for like maybe 2 minutes before we get into the main topic tonight. But I saw this over the weekend. Well, actually Friday. Trump has suddenly canceled.
He did do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but I believe it was. I got to double check.
The Catholic Church will not fail. The people give to the Catholic Church in a major way, so they'll be fine.
What is okay? So this was. I don't think it was. Okay, it looks like it was just in Miami, maybe. Yeah, they just canceled in Miami $11 million, which
what a jackass, bro.
Catholic charities do so much. I mean, I have an office not too far from where I stay. They do a lot, and it's just not for white people. It's for everybody. Black people are. And if you're evil enough to do stuff like that, and we talked a little bit about it last week, but if you're evil enough to do stuff like that, I'm at this point, I'm like, you can't tell me otherwise. This man is either the Antichrist or he's a part of the Antichrist agenda. Somebody over there at that White House is the Antichrist.
Or he's a sociopath.
Or both.
To Lana's point, the church has money, but the issue is these individual dioceses. So New Orleans, for example, Louisiana is a major Catholic state. It's not so much the church is the issue. It's the Archdiocese of New Orleans that could be scrapped, that could be pushing it or need that money to fund soup kitchens, homeless shelters for women and kids. So if he cut that, now women are on the street now, all because the Pope said you were wrong. That's it. No national threat, no embezzlement. The Pope said he was wrong.
And that's, popes always come out and talk against things that they don't agree with. And everybody hates that we're in the middle of this war that's going on, that's senseless and changes every day. He doesn't have a clue on what he's doing. They're just throwing things at the wind, and it's costing people their lives and us possibly, any sort of economic recovery or anything like that. We're going to be in debt for the rest of our lives fooling around with this monster. So
We are.
it's ridiculous. Before we get into the last story of the night, first of all, we want to give out a trigger warning. Disturbing content will be discussed for the rest of the show. Viewer discretion is highly advised. So if you in particular have been dealing or have had a history of any domestic violence, or if that's a touchy subject for you, you're not comfortable hearing that, please leave the live. Because this is dealing with very real life situations, and we know that different people come from different backgrounds. So again, viewer discretion is highly advised. This is a trigger warning. All right, let's go.
Get to breaking news out of Virginia. Authorities there say former Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife, then turned the gun on himself in a murder-suicide. According to Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis, the couple was in the middle of a contentious divorce up until the incident.
Former Lieutenant Governor Fairfax was recently served some paperwork associated with an upcoming court proceeding that apparently led to this incident last night. Both of their children, teenagers, the boys older than the girl, were in the house when it happened. So that's horrible news for the family. Certainly a traumatic event for those children to live through. But we know that it all kind of culminated last night when Justin Fairfax shot several times and killed his wife, ran to a different part of the home, and then killed himself with the same firearm.
CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole.
Oh, so that's been the hot topic pretty much of the whole weekend. And we're going to talk about some more stuff after that. But any initial thoughts for you both?
Can I name out the other victims or wait on that?
The other victims
of similar things that happen, similar violence against women.
Yeah, let's wait on that really quick. Yeah, just initially, I just want to know. Well, first of all, I want to say a prayer to the Fairfax family, especially to the children,
Yes.
And also, to their extended family. It's sad to see, people that may have been accomplished and things of that nature. And, when things go bad, that things like this happen, tragic terms like this happen when, but again, prayers to the children, because that's so traumatic. And I hope that they are able to recover somewhat with that event. But you can go ahead, Josh, and just give your initial reaction on that story.
So James is from Virginia. So I just seen it when he texted to me, and he said this guy was projected to be, well, in his day, the next governor of Virginia. To go from that high of a lofty mountain to drop down to this. Dr. Cerina Fairfax, if there ever was a wife that was supportive, if there ever was a wife that did her best to make her man and her family's dreams come true, it was her. And because this clown made a copious amount of blunders and ignorant mistakes and ignorant actions and missteps and ruined his life, thusly dragging his family down to where now she was the breadwinner.
Mm-hmm.
He cheated. He was an alcoholic. He
Mm-hmm.
had scandals.
Mm-hmm.
And she stayed and tried to keep the family together, try to keep the dream together. Only for her to get tired and say enough is enough. That wasn't good enough. Him losing his house was a trigger. The house that she paid for. How can you be this selfish? If there is a hell, I hope this evening he is in the lowest part.
Mm-hmm.
And please, God, keep your hands around those kids, man. I can imagine.
And Courtney, what was your initial reaction when you first saw that story?
So I couldn't understand why did it have to end this way. And I understand how tumultuous divorce can bring out the worst when it's tumultuous. Not all divorces are bad. Some people can agree amicably and move forward. But when you're fighting about any little thing, it can be a bit much financially, and it can be a bit much emotionally for sure. And so I just hate the fact that it brought out the extreme worst in him, that he would want to take this beautiful woman's life away from her children. So it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, this situation actually, when I first saw it come out on the news, I was like taken aback because I know people in the area, and so I'm very familiar with Fairfax, Virginia. So I was just like, when I first heard the last time, I was like, Fairfax, and then they started saying Virginia, and I was like, oh my god, like, so it's just like, how do, if you are having a tough time in life, and it's sad to say, but if you are having a tough time in life, and you know that you are feeling violent, and you feel like you want to take out your own life, why don't you just go and do that? I'm sorry to say it, Ben. I know this is harsh,
Well,
but why are you going and taking out your wife's life? If
well,
you're
so here's the
mad,
thing. Let me say this. I think that Black men do not ask for help enough.
It's not a Black man problem, Courtney. I'm sorry. This right here is a Black man this time and the last couple of times, but this most people don't even cross this. Our minds don't even go here. This is something right here. You disagree?
You have the numbers. You have the
For whom?
numbers of how many Black men have killed Black women.
No. What I gave you that was worldwide. That wasn't Black men. 137 a day. That was worldwide.
Okay.
Black men.
To domestic.
Today is not the day to try to prove a point for Black men. I
Well,
understand
no,
that.
I'm not trying to disparage Black men. What I'm saying is these are mental breaks. And if you want to be spiritual, of course it's a spiritual thing, a spiritual component there, but these are mental breaks. And I understand that there's so much going on right now in our communities and in our households, right? But we have to, at some point, drop the pride and say, hey, I cannot carry this load. Men carry some men carry a heavy weight. And I understand that part.
no, this graphic right here, it's about 10 years old. it
And it's higher than
gives,
that, actually, Jesse.
yeah, okay. Unfortunately it gives a grim, and we have to have these conversations. It's not about
No, London. No,
demonizing
it's not.
black. Yeah,
No, it's not, London.
it's not it's not necessarily about placing blame or saying any race
Mm-hmm.
is better than any, because if
No.
we get down to the nitty gritty, it all goes back down to white patriarchy, and I'll say that to the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through a lot in this country. However, at this point, we do have to start, and I think all three of us will agree, we have to start taking accountability to make sure that this number doesn't continue to rise. Okay, so I want to go here really quick, because we're kind of bringing up mental health, and a lot of people I saw on threads, we're having an issue with, now all of a sudden everybody wants to make it a mental health journey type of deal, when we've been saying for years, black men, you need to go get yourself checked out. Oh no, I just go to church. Black men, you need to go get some professional help. Oh
They're
no,
not even going to church.
I just go to the gym and I work it out. Black men, you need to seriously, because you're becoming violent to the point where you're threatening. Oh no, I just talked to my bros they in my barber. No, you need to go get some coping mechanisms that are going to help you survive and not be violent. And we've said it over and over again. And it's always this pushback about a lack of, and there's always this lack of accountability. But then now, when something like this, where these numbers are starting to rise, especially because a lot of this is tied to this economy, that's why these numbers are
Yeah.
rising. Um,
Yeah, that's a good
it,
point, Jesse.
and it's going to unfortunately continue to rise. The more people are going to lose their stability, they're going to be more violent and more angry. So, what can you do to rectify and make you slow down and think about things and think about the strategies at hand before you go grab a pistol and start blazing people, the people that you claim you love? We have to be like, if we're going to do the mental health journey, this should have been something that was talked about 10 years ago. But niggas got to start signing up for this shit. If you want to make it over to the promised land, sign up for the damn. Ooh.
Here's, Jesse, what worries me. So I covered this today in my podcast, The Inner Conflict, on Holy and Whole. Please go check it out. Here's what worries me. Rather than sitting with ourselves, sitting with the pain, correcting our behaviors, healing ourselves, you have a red pill saying, bruh, you're not depressed, you need more money. You're not depressed, you're not hurting, you need to be more powerful, you need to hustle harder. That's like telling someone who has cancer, you're not sick, you just need to eat more. You just need to work out more. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's spreading. It's metastasizing.
But what's the
It's to the
numbers of men listening to the red pill community?
I'm not saying this. I'm saying this as a point to where Jesse is saying, hey, mental health, spiritual health, like become whole. What I'm saying is, contrary to that, you have men who listen to this more than the mental health part, and they're hearing, I'm sad, but if I had more money, if I had more control of my woman, if I had more
But they
control of my
think that
household.
outside of another man telling them that.
But see, the
And
thing
I think that's
is,
what the problem is.
Hold on.
There's toxic masculinity in the
that's what it comes
streets.
down to.
You're
There's
forgetting,
toxic
Courtney.
masculinity in the barbershop.
You're forgetting, Courtney, who we talking about here. We aren't talking about men my age and older. We're talking about young guys who don't have those figures, who are raised by their mothers to see women, or at the very least not have those toxic traits a la my grandfather had. You know what I'm saying? But they're hearing these men who they are giving their ear to as their mentors, as their father figures, and they're saying, hey, I'm depressed. How do I deal with that? Well, buddy, get more money, hustle harder. And you're still never dealing with the issue. And so
But
now
these men that have created these monstrosities as it relates to these crimes against these women are around our age and older.
Well, I mean,
No, 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 no,
the
no, no, no.
oh,
Be surprised. It's these young dudes who spazzing out. We call
Yeah,
them
they
Tinder
crashing
D's
and
for a
burning.
reason. Yeah. So of those stats, it's these younger dudes more often than not that are killing their they're killing their girlfriends, or that are spazzing out killing their moms. There's a case in I want to say Dallas, where a guy Deer, Deer, Dr. Deer, her son killed her. It's either Michigan or Texas. That's actually a quiet epidemic right now, where young men are killing their mothers.
but I want to say this because I'm always in the middle. I want to say this really quickly.
I agree.
Um,
I agree, Londa.
what the real let's not focus so much on the form of media, and what's being produced. Let's focus on the spirit that is at play behind it. It all comes down to that whole patriarchal boys will be boys mentality. That's all that, boys will be boys
I disagree, Jesse.
mentality. What was that?
I disagree. I disagree. Not that simple.
To it all stems back to that, and it has festered and has been repackaged as red pill content. And since we never
Are you
held men
serious?
account, yes, it is. I'm dead serious. Since we never held men accountable, and I'm talking about straight black men, or just straight men in general, we never held them accountable. We let them get away with things that were egregious for generations at hand, and now they have the internet where they can all get up on the internet and just spew out whatever, and we never corrected that shit. Now we have to deal with the violence.
I'm sorry. I was saying, are you serious to Londa's point, not you, Jesse. I
Mhm.
agree with you. I'm saying Londa's
Oh,
point
okay.
about what Roland comment was.
Well, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. But yeah, I was gonna bring that up because Roland Martin showed his black big fat funky ass this weekend, and we the people was mad and angry all
Let's
on
not be rude.
threads. I was fat and funky, so he was big fat funky
I have a
ass.
question.
This morning, I got a phone call regarding some business, and
What was that, Josh?
I have a question. Just a side note. Why is it that? No, man. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I
and
jumped
I
there.
was going to go back to sleep, and I said, "Don't don't check your text messages, because it's going to keep you up." Well, I did, and I saw literally 8 to 10 different text messages that had Justin Fairfax in it, and I immediately thought, "My goodness, did something happen to him? Was it an accident? What went on?" And then when I opened those text messages, I saw the news that it was a murder-suicide, that the former lieutenant governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, shot and killed his wife, Cerina, several times in their home in Northern Virginia. Police are calling it a murder-suicide. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis said the couple's divorce more than likely triggered this incident.
So far, what we know is probably what you all know, and I don't think it's a secret that there's been divorce proceedings that have been ongoing.
And as to what actually took place today, Sophia Nelson, who book author,
Beautiful,
she
smart woman. Bro, this is
posted about how she often talked with Justin Fairfax over the last several years, and she talked about depression, what he was going through and dealing with. And she posted this 7-minute video on social media. Listen.
Somebody stands up for me. I had done so in a Washington Post piece in.
Well, first he said you were interviewing me before the rest of them did, and we brought him on, and that was the interview when he came on the show, and he was 48 hours away from becoming governor of Virginia when the blackface scandal regarding Governor Ralph Northam came out, and
So, basically, I was pulling up a meme or a post of something that Roland had tweeted out. Let me see here. Okay, I just got it. So it said that I normally don't delete any social media unless there's actual factual error, but I have deleted my Justine and Cerina Fairfax post because the leadership at Sigma Phi Fraternity Incorporated asked me to do so in order to adhere to the Bolet's social media policy on sharing member names and images of our society on social media. I guess Roland had made some inference about just him being one of his frat brothers or something like that, and a lot of people took that very insensitive.
Lana
Um,
was Lana was saying
Go.
about Roland was going on about how good of a frat he was, and that could come off as very insensitive when he's the guy that caused all this mess. No one care about your frat right now, bruh. No one care about your depression right now. You took somebody's life who didn't deserve it. The hell with you and your frat.
Yeah, and it's really insensitive. I actually found the post. I'll post it up here. But um, Courtney, did you have anything to say in regards to into Roland Martin's stance or his commentary on what happened?
Roland knows better. And that's all I got on that. He know better.
Yeah, he definitely knows better. Lord, I should have had this already. Let me sure. Well, I'll just pull it up from threads. Yeah, because everybody was going on. And, really at the end of the day, what it is a bunch of, what we already see inside the black community a lot of times. And I can't just say black community, but just, when it comes down to toxic masculinity, a lot of times, people will sit there and make excuses and they'll pacify a situation. Um,
Okay,
it's
now that's too far. Okay, I'm pretty sure he wasn't making excuses for the guy.
so this post is I'm trying to get it pulled up closer where everybody can kind of read it. Okay, so Roland Martin said this on Instagram. Today's Roland Martin's Unfiltered is going to be very difficult. I knew Justin and his wife, Dr. Cerina, and this has been deleted, so that's why it was kind of hard for me to find. But Dr. Cerina Fairfax, I was simply stunned this morning when hearing the devastating news of murder suicide. Justin was my alpha brother or whatever. And in the same Sigma Pi Phi fraternity chapter, Beta Nu. Last year, Serena texted me to uh, tell me that she recommended Norfolk State have me as their commencement speaker, and was saddened when they picked someone else. Serena, a dentist by profession, was an accomplished woman in her own right. I was personally aware of how devastated Justin was about the two sexual assault allegations made against him when he was 48 hours away from becoming the governor of Virginia in the wake of Governor Ralph Northam blackface scandal. His political career never recovered. We often texted, but did not in last year. I am also saddened for their two children. They are now left without a mom and dad and now have to carry the emotional toll of Justin's actions. Domestic violence is real, and so is mental health. I have booked two black male mental health experts to speak on this tonight. Please be in prayer for those kids, Serena's family, and Justin's. This
Okay,
tragedy had and altered many lives. Okay, go ahead.
I get his point. I get his point. What about someone to speak to women about what to look for? To speak to women about how to protect themselves. This is not, and we should have the black male mental health conversation. But right now,
How to protect
she's the
yourself
victim.
from your husband?
No. That's what I'm saying. She's the victim. It should be around her. I'm hearing everything around him, around his identity, his affiliations. She is the victim, not him.
But
Am I wrong here?
the world. No, I agree with what you're saying. However, you know that the space was created around him. So in other words, when they were together, he was probably propped up because of who he was politically.
But he pulled the trigger though. Like,
He's wrong. Boom. We agree. There's no
He's a
disagreement
dentist
there.
though. She wasn't no little. It was giving Barack and
No.
Michelle.
what Courtney's saying is he was the face of the brand, not her.
But it was
That's
giving
Courtney
Barack
saying.
and Michelle. It wasn't
No.
like she was just a weakling in the bag.
No, I'm not saying that.
He was the
Of
face
course
though,
not.
Jesse.
He was lieutenant governor, right?
About to be governor.
About to be governor.
Yep.
So he
Yep.
was the face of it. So people had always propped him up. That's why she got tired, because behind the scenes, she was making sure that he was able to stay on that pedestal.
And
All
to tie
things
in
considered.
the Barack Michelle analogy again, much like Mrs. Obama covered the household while Barack was trying to find his way, she also did the same thing for her husband, and that's what made it so devastating.
And so that's why they're speaking so,
But
lack of a better term,
ultimately,
highly of him.
yeah, they were speaking. Just call the thing a thing. They were speaking highly of a murderer, and that if it was a white man that went and killed somebody, you wouldn't say that. But then when you making excuses for black men, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna call a thing a thing. You just because you're good friends with Justin Fairfax, you don't know what the fuck them damn kids and that woman went through.
Amen.
So keep your damn comments to yourself. And as somebody that's dealt with abuse and stuff like that, and you still have people, you have your abusers being highly spoken of still, that pisses people off. And Roland was dead to the bed wrong.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, Jesse. And I have to run, but I do want to share this story to your point. There was a preacher who went through a very traumatic experience with a politician down here in middle Georgia, and the preacher was a woman, but because the politician was so venerated during the court procession, it was almost a comedy roast of him because of all the good things said about him, of all the good old boy stories said about him. And she got up and she said, Your Honor, I'm not sure if I should call this a victim impact statement or if I'm interrupting a brotherly reunion, but I am a victim here. And hearing that on the news made me think about something. Not just women, just in this case, but in general. Victims a lot of times get drowned out by the legacy or reputation of the actual oppressor. And now you see why some people don't speak out or keep their mouth shut, because it's almost more humiliating to tell your story than it is to go and get help. And how many times have she been abused? How many times have she been yelled at or scared for her life? And her trying to be the good wife and trying to not embarrass him, it could have cost her life. And we've seen this in Shreveport, we've seen it in Dallas, we see it in Coral Reeves, Florida, we see it in Georgia, we see it in St. Louis. This
Detroit.
month has been a horrific month for femicide. Horrific. And as the AI take root and more jobs are lost, it's going to get worse. Mm-hmm. These numbers are higher than we saw in 2020 during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. That's not by accident, y'all.
Mm-hmm. And so we have to make sure that we are, because it's real easy for Roland Martin to get his roly-poly looking ass up here. I know Josh's gonna roast me, but it is what it is. It's real easy for him to get up and say, oh, we called each other, but where was the goddamn community? Where was your community? Because if you were this so-called community and this was your good friend, that would have never happened because you would have known all about it, baby. See, I don't do these whole friendships where we're just on the surface level. I need friends in my life that know my nitty gritty. And I got my group chat and they done been there through it all. Me and my little attempts and all of that. Okay, just being quite frank. They done been there through it all. So I don't need these little surface level friends. We really have to get a sense on the word community and the word friendship as Black men. Just because you can have a good drink with somebody that is not your friend, honey. And we done said this many times. But who are you going to call when the nitty is down to the goddamn gritty? Who do you call? You need those people. Those that in therapy they call it your safety plan. And that's why I advocate for safety, because that's one of the first things they do, especially if you have a history or thoughts of uncommitting your, unaliving yourself. If you have thoughts and history of that, they definitely they come up with the safety plan. That's the first thing they talk about. Who can you call when you're having late night thoughts and things of that nature, and things you had a bad day? Who can you call? What can you do? You have this person on speed dial. Do you have this text message? Are you able to go to this safe space? And these are the things that they do in therapy, and that's why it's so needed, and that's why I hate that so many people disregard therapy and always come up with different alternatives. No, you need someone to talk to that's a safe space and that will give you a safety plan. They don't always send you to the hospital. They don't always prescribe you pills. Sometimes you just need a safety plan and a safe space so you can land, the information that needs to be heard, get it off your chest. And, most times, more than not, that's always ethical and your business will never be told. So please go get help if you need it. Now, we're about to wrap up here. Courtney, did you have any final thoughts before we got off?
Londa, if you could put up her comment, she has the National Domestic Violence Hotline there. And the mental health crisis line as well, which is nationwide, if anyone needs assistance there. I don't have too much to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Londa, for posting that. Josh, did you have anything before we got off of here?
Yes.
He might have had.
If you don't mind, please subscribe to my podcast. Hold. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. I want to leave with one stat. 137 women per day worldwide are killed by a family member and or partner. 137. Let's make sure, men, we're not one of them. I don't care how crazy she is. I don't care what you think about her. I don't care if you've done. I don't care what. She's not your property. Her life is not yours. 137 a day. In 1 year, that would clear out a whole city in some states. And it's a shame. And April has been a brutal month for this mess. Brutal. Please talk to someone. Please be someone's accountability and someone's, safe space if you can. It takes all of us. A lot of these guys weren't raised knowing how to regulate their emotions. It's no excuse, but it's true. So if you can help, get in there and do something. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Courtney.
All right. Well, that was a little bit of a heavy topic. Usually I cuss Josh out at the end of the show, but I'm not doing that tonight. So y'all, we thank you so much for coming on by to Millennial Mondays. We're here every Monday at 9 o'clock.
Hold
go ahead.
Hold on, Jesse. Londa's point is very valid. Her last comment.
Men only judge men based on how they treat other men. They don't care about anything else sometimes. Yeah.
And that was my point about that story with the court system. They couldn't see her as human when compared to his humanity.
Yeah. it's so much that we have to continue to talk about and continue to try to deconstruct surrounding domestic violence, patriarchy, all of that, toxic masculinity, all of it. So it's so much that we
So
have to
buzzword.
just continue to talk about. We thank you again for coming over here to Millennial Monday. What the hell did he just say? See, I was trying my best to get up here. What did he say? You know, it's a
I
little.
I didn't hear it this time.
Okay, okay, okay. You didn't hear it this time. Praise God. Because if you would have heard it, if you would have heard it.
The generation of evolution, the generation of change. During this vital time in history, we know that some things must change, but there's nothing new under the sun. Join us as we discuss the current landscape of politics, religion, and culture with your hosts, JESSYE, Courtney, and Jay Kelly through the lenses of millennials. Welcome to Millennial Monday.